banks in Chinatown hire a Feng Shui specialist to arrange you, of course.
Hi, welcome to CISTA For Wellness. I'm Sandi Pope. I'm the host and producer of this show. And I have a pleasure to have my guest again, Miss Cassandra Wims, who is sort of like a co-host. And she's has a welcome, a whole welcome worth of knowledge about health and wellness. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the book that I just managed to complete. And I'm excited about it because it's an accomplishment. You know, I think, as I mentioned in some of my previous shows, all of us have a book, you know, and to get it like in its finished product is sort of like something to be excited about. I was very excited when I said, when it came in the mail, I said, wow. Because sometimes you do things you don't believe you can do, you know, and then when they're done, you say, wow, this is what I did. So how are you today? Welcome to the program.
Fine. I'm glad to be here. I want to say something. We did a show previously, and all she had of her book was one sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, and some words on it. And now I see her with this book, and I'm really proud of her. And I'm very, she even deals with Feng Shui and fitness, and business too. You know, so you did it all. You know, and I'm very proud of you. And water, food. You know, water is so important because during the Christmas season, a lot of people fast. And in some religions, this is the season of Advent.
Right.
I don't want to say denial, but I'll say focus. And you have build your inner circle. And that's what people do, is fast and build on inner circles.
Well, originally this book was called Feng Shui Your Kitchen, the best workspace for your small business. But I changed it around because maybe this may be a series of different books or additional books, because now it's CISTA For Wellness Good Health Guide to start a home-based business. So the Good Health Guide might be something that we may collaborate on, how to lose weight, a good health guide on how to overcome obesity, a good health guide how to overcome diabetes. It's something that you had worked on in some time. So, but this book, I combine a lot of my own experience. A lot of years ago, I was a Feng Shui consultant, and I gave Feng Shui workshops. And when I first learned about Feng Shui, I thought it was important because we tend to gather things. We tend to
clutter.
We block the energies that we need to make us successful. But we don't know that. In my apartment, one of my first apartments, I had something in every corner. I had some kind of something in every corner. There was no corner without something in it. And then when you run out of corners, then you start looking up in the ceiling, you start hanging things up in the ceiling. So when I learned about Feng Shui, I started to remove things, and I started identifying things that I really didn't need. And then along with being a small business person, I said, why don't I combine this information and put it into a book? Because small business people who start a business in their home, they always start it up in the bedroom because maybe the bedroom is bigger, but it's the worst place that you can start up a business in your home, in your bedroom, because your bedroom is a place in the Feng Shui triangle. You have your bedroom is for rest, your bathroom is for detox, and your kitchen is the wealth that you bring into your system. So you cannot rest if you have a business in your bedroom that you're working on it 24/7. You never get any rest. So that's why I combined it, and I said, well, why don't we set up your business in the kitchen? So I found out that the kitchen is your wealth, because a good Feng Shui chef will prepare healthy foods that you put into the body that will allow you to eliminate properly, and you'll have time to go into your bedroom and rest. And that's why I combine all of these things together. Celebrate taking the first steps is taking the first steps with your own little small business. That's an accomplishment. And then build your inner circle. Build your inner circle is on the cover. Build your inner circle is understanding what your circle really is. And when you build that, you have to protect it, because people will come and put thoughts in it you're constantly fighting to protect your own little circle. So you have to build your circle and protect your circle. Another area in the book is a strong body builds a strong business, or a healthy body builds a strong business. So you cannot not be healthy and try to run a business, because then you have to go to the doctor, take time out, take money out to try to make yourself better. So you need to, the Feng Shui system, it's a Feng Shui rule: clear, clutter, clean, or clean, clutter, clear.
Right.
So once you clear all of that, then you have a free mechanism to build a good, strong body and build a strong business. And that's the emphasis of the book.
Well, you know, I want to say, or let's talk about Feng Shui in action. I heard a long time ago that Chinese banks in Chinatown hire Feng Shui specialists to tell them how to rearrange furniture in the bank.
Right, right.
And so we're dealing with an area of health that may not be well known, but those who know it are way in advance. Now, I'll tell you something that was very funny. I remember when Superman came out.
Yes, yeah.
There
Which
was
one? The new one or the old one?
the old one.
Okay.
This is going back to the 60s and the 50s.
Yes, yes.
Superman was hosting an Indian yoga specialist.
Okay.
And I could see where they were trying to introduce to the American public a whole different way of healing.
Okay, okay.
You know, it was there's something different about this Superman episode. Now, for instance, now you talk about when health is revealed, health methods are revealed. Do you know the first acupuncture conference was held in San Francisco in 1945?
What? Acupuncture.
Yeah.
Yeah, acupuncture is where they find your medium, your electrodes or something like that.
Right.
And they put the pins in there to make connection. I'm not sure exactly, but
Right.
acupuncture, yeah.
Yeah. So
Another means of healing.
right, right.
Yes.
So it's being introduced. You read it in Newsweek magazine. You're reading about like the number 3 health restaurant in the city is in Harlem.
Oh, which one is that?
What is American Juice Bar?
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay,
on 125th Street.
okay.
Number 3 was written up in New York Magazine.
Wow.
You know, so those types of inroads. Now, people who are specialists in all types of healing know about this.
Right.
And they're trying to make sure that they can make money.
Okay, that's the primary purpose, right?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
One thing I want to introduce to the audience, I got this in 2005, and this is the Silver Award for the Presidential Champion. Remember, we talked about my Presidential Challenge medal and Obama's signatures on the back? Well, that comes along with this, and this one is President Bush's signature.
Okay.
Now,
what is that for? What is it? What did you get?
You get it for activity. You know, how active are you?
Okay.
So I got the first, the second, and the third level.
Wow.
The sad thing about it is that the children play basketball out in the street.
Right, right.
And I wanted them to have this.
Okay.
You know, of course, it's nothing like having your accomplishments on paper.
True.
And I said, y'all play basketball. I said, you can get this for playing basketball. And they were intimidated by the president's name being on the certificate.
Okay.
So as you had some people who were dealing with health and healing and publishing before, we got to go back to the beginning. You know, so these were children, they weren't teens yet.
Okay.
Young children being afraid of a president's signature
Wow.
on the same paper that their name is on.
So why would they be afraid?
I don't know. They
What
were
would what's the
intimidated.
intimidating
I didn't
factor?
push them, you know.
Yeah.
I come out, I said, listen, you can have this for playing basketball.
That's interesting that they would be intimidated by that. That's you had no idea why they would be intimidated by that?
While maybe the black community isn't as tight as it used to be,
What does that mean? What?
you know, they would put their heads together. I remember when I was a little girl, I had friends and we talked about what we heard our parents tell us, our babysitters, and goals and things like that. I remember when there was a cookie lady. Remember there was a cookie lady and you went to her house after you left school? She would cook cookies or muffins
Something, okay.
and do some storytelling.
Oh.
We don't have that anymore.
Wow.
You know, there's so many freaks killing children, you know, that you can't trust your child with someone.
So how does that convert into being intimidated when the president, you have a certificate that maybe the young people would be involved with? What happens with that? Why would they be intimidated with that?
I don't know. Maybe they watch the news.
Maybe they don't watch the news. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay.
You see? And so in my thoughts, if they're not really in tune to what's going on, like in school years ago, we had to do what do you call that? You had to read the paper, read the newspaper, and do a report.
Right.
So that kept you knowledgeable about just daily events. That's what it was, daily events, daily events. So maybe our kids are not doing daily events anymore. So when they see an opportunity like this, they get intimidated because they're not in tune to what's happening on a daily, you know, if somebody got killed or murdered or some kind of event, a cop did something, they would be in tune to that, but they're not in tune to taking advantage of some wonderful things that could change their life in a way.
Yeah.
How can we change that?
You know, they don't have after-school programs the way they used to. I remember after I left school on certain days, I went to the community center.
We don't have one of those.
Yes, and I was on the basketball team.
Yeah.
And the coach, you know, had a strict lecture about smoking. And I didn't smoke because either you smoke and don't get a trophy, or don't smoke and get a trophy. And I wanted a trophy.
Okay.
And I'm glad I can show these little boys on the street. I said, when I was your age, this is what I got.
Wow.
And I want you to have trophies, and ask your teacher how you can get trophies, or your gym teacher how you can get trophies.
Interesting.
So that was my choice. And I said, I can look at that and think of, you know, happier times when I was younger.
Wow.
So that's why I introduced this to them as motivating.
Motivating, yeah.
And give them a sense of value. I said, you know, all this time that you're playing basketball, you could put it in the computer and get a certificate.
Well, I don't think that they understand the correlation.
Yeah.
They don't think that it has any connection.
Yeah.
And then they might say, what good is it going to do them? You know, I want to tell a story about, I was involved with politics a number of years ago, and I was giving out flyers, and one of the neighbors says, well, you know, there's the young man across the way, he's not doing anything around here. Maybe you can have him help you give out some flyers. So I spoke to him, and he says, nah, I'm not giving out no flyers. I said, well, you never know. If you get involved with politics in some way, you might meet maybe a politician. Are you working now? He said, nah, I'm not working. So maybe if you meet a couple of people, maybe you'll be able to get a job. He says, well, so in our conversation, he says, politics ain't doing nothing for me. I'm not interested in politics. It ain't doing nothing for me. So
sounds like somebody who don't know what Black History Month is.
So well, no. Then I said, well, why do you say that? He says, well, I'm handicapped. So he had 3 fingers or something like this. And I said, well, what does that mean? He says, well, I went everywhere to try to get a job and nobody would hire me. So then I said, well, did you volunteer to let people know how good you can perform? Nah, I'm not volunteering for no. So at the end of the conversation, I said, well, maybe you need to start up your own business. Maybe that's what you need to do. I said, there's opportunities out there for people that are handicapped. I said, well, maybe why don't you set up a hot dog stand? A hot dog stand, you have your own hot dogs, you have your own business. He said, I'm not selling no hot dogs for nobody. He said, I'm not going into no business selling no hot dogs. I said, well, it's not that you're selling hot dogs. It's your own business. That's the difference. You're not selling hot dogs for somebody. You're just setting up your own business. So at the end of our long conversation, he says, well, you might have an idea there, but none of this is good for me. So the point I'm making is that here's a guy, he said he was very talented in whatever it is, he was drawing or something like that. But by the end of our conversation, he was still not interested in doing anything or showing anything. But I did say one word that I just want to touch on, and that was volunteerism. That we don't really understand what, when I say we, some of us don't understand what volunteering is. I didn't understand what volunteer was when I was a young woman growing up. But then when you start hearing people that are volunteering, you say, what the heck are they volunteering? They're not getting paid for this? What are they volunteering?